From 1972 to 1977, he was appointed first secretary and later became first councillor in Brussels, where together with Mr. Raymond Charles, he participated in the negotiations leading up to the signature of the Lomé Agreement and the Sugar Protocol. From 1977 to 1983, he acted as Minister Councillor and head of the International Division at the Ministry of External Affairs. He has also occupied the post of Deputy Director of the Commonwealth Foundation in London for the period 1983 to 1990. Madam Speaker, on the political front, Mr. Salman Kane made his first foreign politics in 1991 by joining the Mauritius Labour Party and stood as the candidate for the general election for constituency number 20, Beaubassin-Petite-Rivière, under the banner of the Alliance Parti Travailliste PMST, but he was not returned. Mr. Salman Kane then contested the 1995 election in constituency number 2, Port Louis South and Port Louis Central, under the banner of the Alliance Parti Travailliste MMM, and was elected as second member to serve the National Assembly. He was also appointed as Secretary General of the Mauritius Labour Party. In January 1996, he was appointed Minister of Arts, Culture and Leisure, where during his tenure of office, he set up the National Library, the National Art Gallery, the National History Museum, and the Nelson Mandela Center for African Culture. In December 1996, he became Minister of Civil Service Affairs, a portfolio which he held until June 1997. In July 1997, he again held the portfolio of Minister of Arts, Culture and Leisure and served in that position until August 2000. Madam Speaker, Mr. Salman Kane was conferred 3 titles during his lifetime. The Lord du Lion in 1991 by the Republic of Senegal. In 1996, he was awarded the title of Ordre des Palmes Académiques. On the 12th of March 2010, he was elevated to the rank of Grand Officer of the Order of the Star and Key of the Indian Ocean for his significant contribution in the fields of literature, culture, diplomacy, and politics. In 2013, he became the winner of the Brilliance of China Award. Mr. Salman Kane has also held the post of Vice President of the Mauritian Writers Association in 2011 and has also occupied the post of Chairman of the 𝐸𝐴NDI Association from 2012 to 2013. In 2013, he became a member of the African Peer Review Mechanism Panel, a position he held until 2021. Madam Speaker, Mr. Salman Kane had a passion for literary works and poetry. He has authored several books ranging from history to culture. He was also a passionate of the Hakka culture. His poem compilation, Le Grand Chat Hakka, was translated in English and in Chinese. Madam Speaker, may I kindly request you to direct the acting clerk to convey the deep condolences of the Assembly to his widow, Mrs. Marie-Reine Salman Kane, and to his children and family. Thank you.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On behalf of the Opposition, I again associate myself with the tribute paid by the Honourable Prime Minister to the late Mr. Salman Kane. And Madam Speaker, may I again kindly request you to direct the acting clerk of the National Assembly to convey our deep condolences to the bereaved family. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honourable members, I associate myself with the tribute paid to the memory of late Salman Kane, former Member of Parliament, by Dr. the Honourable Prime Minister and by the Honourable Leader of the Opposition, and I direct the acting clerk to convey the deep condolences of the Assembly to the bereaved family.
Papers none. Questions?
Yes. Honourable members, before we proceed with parliamentary questions on the order paper, I wish to make an announcement with regard to notice of questions. For today's sitting, I have decided to accept questions and propose them on a first-come, first-served basis a practice adopted previously in this House. In the light of the aforementioned, I'm given to understand that the Honourable Chief Government Whip and the Honourable Whip of the Opposition have come to a consensus regarding the order in which parliamentary questions would appear on the notice of questions for particular Tuesday sitting. Yes? Well, that is what I was given to understand. Well, let us wait. In this case, next time we will have decided for the next Tuesday meeting what you would like to do, because we really want a consensus. As regards today's sitting, I will be as flexible as possible regarding supplementary questions. The key words here are fairness, relevance, and importance of the subject matter of the PQ, because we have 2 hours, as you know, for questions. Thank you. Honourable Fourth Member of Port Louis North and Montaillon, Mr. Duval.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. 1B1.
Madam Speaker, even before the electoral campaign and during the campaign, we were warning the nation that the macroeconomic figures were being manipulated by the MSM government and its allies. The implementation of the 14th month bonus will have deep impact on the economy and on public finances because of the disastrous situation we have inherited from the previous government. But never in our wildest nightmare did we know the extent that the figures would be falsified. In fact, Madam Speaker, the economic boom that the previous government boasted has been nothing but an electoral gimmick, very, very far from the harsh reality that we have discovered after assuming office. We will therefore have to be extremely prudent to minimize the adverse impact of the 14-month on the economy. As regards the implementation of the 14-month bonus, I will make an announcement once a policy decision is taken by Cabinet on Friday. I will elaborate more on these issues in a statement to the House on the state of the economy this afternoon, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Yes?
Yes,
Next
thank
question.
you, Madam Speaker. Well, does the Honourable Prime Minister know that the Minister of Labour has given recently in an interview stated that consultations had begun and that he was working closely with the Office of the Attorney General for the preparation of the bill? Will he confirm whether this is in fact the case?
I can confirm that, in fact, he has been working with the Attorney General, and we will have to come with a bill. Not as it was previously announced, it will have to be through a bill.
Yes?
Yes. May we know if the consultations and the preparations that are being made with the Office of the Attorney General, whether it is being envisaged for the payment of the 14th month bonus, whether it's been envisaged to cap the payment to a certain income level, or whether it will be for all employees.
In fact, Madam Speaker, I will make a statement later on the state of the economy, and I'm sure Honourable Member will have a good look at it. This is why I said we'll have to be extremely prudent to minimize the adverse effect of the 14-month on the economy. But after the statement on the economy, I'm sure you will come up with new questions.
Okay. There are some questions that have been, we've been advised that they will be replied by other honourable ministers. Question PQ1B2 will be replied by the Honourable Minister of Commerce and Consumer Protection. PQ1B4 will be replied by Dr. the Honourable Minister of Agro-Industry, Food Security and Blue Economy and Fisheries. Okay. Yes, Honourable Fourth Member of Port Louis North and Montaillon, Mr. Duval.
Yes.
Your next question.
B3.
Madam Speaker, after 56 years of independence, it is opportune to consider constitutional and electoral reforms to further consolidate our democratic institutions, especially after how the previous regime has undermined all our institutions. It is precisely to consolidate our democracy that the proposal for the setting up of an electoral college for the election of the President of the Republic has been included in the electoral manifesto of the government. Madam Speaker, electoral college is a process whereby a group of electors is formed to elect a candidate to a particular office. The concept of general electoral colleges is not a novel one and is known in several democracies across the world. For instance, countries such as India and Germany have recourse to electoral colleges to elect the president. In France, the Senate is elected by an electoral college. Each of these countries has its own model of electoral college adapted to suit the local context and the specificities of their respective electoral system. Madam Speaker, the establishment of an electoral college in Mauritius will be an integral part of the reform agenda of my government, and we will have consultations with all the stakeholders.
Yes, Madam Speaker, may I?
Yes, of
Yes.
course.
Well, will the Prime Minister agree that he had pledged during the campaign to appoint the President of the Republic for an electoral college, and that it be not a simple nominee of the Prime Minister? I will ask the Prime Minister whether he doesn't agree whether the outgoing President could have remained in office pending the appointment of a new President through the Electoral College, as he himself pledged.
And I don't agree with the honourable member. We have a new government. The President's term has ended, and gracefully we allowed him to stay in his position, and he has stepped down at the time when he was supposed to step down. So this is why we've decided we have to replace the President and the Vice President until we do the reforms that we have pledged we will do.
Will the Prime Minister not agree that under the Constitution there is already provision for the outgoing President to remain in office pending the incoming President, and that because a President's term is for 5 years, it will not be under this government that a new President will be elected through the Electoral College, as has been pledged?
I don't agree with the honourable member. The President, as I said, decided, he accepted that he has to step down after a new government is elected, and his term of office has come to an end. So this is how we proceeded with the appointment of the new President and the Vice President. We cannot allow things to stay there because, this would be an eternal argument if that is the case. That is why we followed the procedure and we've elected a new President, as has always been elected, but we will bring the reforms that we have pledged we will bring.
And if I may.
Well, I think the Prime Minister has replied to your question. You may, but don't be argumentative and don't come back again to the same issue.
If I may ask the Honourable Prime Minister, given that now the President is in office and the Vice President is in office, and like I said, the term will run and it will expire after this government's mandate, will he consider, once the Electoral College is set up, to ask the President, therefore, to vacate the office until he is appointed anew through that system? Otherwise, he would not, like I said, otherwise, he will not be keeping his promise to elect the President under his term, under his mandate, through the Electoral College.
I think I said it. You're coming back. He's given an answer. You may not agree with the answer, but I think I will not pursue with this question anymore. There is the question of the Speaker. Maybe, Right Honourable Prime Minister, there was also a part on the Speaker's choice. Maybe you want to reply on that?
Mr. Speaker, sir, we should allow Mr. Fouquet to stay as Speaker. This is precisely what you're saying. when we saw what the difference was. So this is not acceptable. You must treat the president properly. He stepped down, a new president has come in his place.
Yes.
The Honourable Prime Minister will realize that the Speaker has to be elected for constitutional amendment to be brought to the House, voted, for the President to be appointed under the new mechanism. My question being that this could have been the case, and this promise could have been kept, but I will not insist.
That promise will be kept. We will look at the, as I said in my answer, if you, at the end, I did say that there will be consultation, what consultations? With all stakeholders, because we have to look at all the aspects of it, and we will keep to what we have said.
Yes. The Honourable Second Member for Rodrigues, Mr. François.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. B5.
Allow me, Madam Speaker, to state at the very outset that my government is committed to a fully comprehensive reform of the current electoral system, which would be reflective on the will of the population and restore the democratic reputation of our country. To this end, consultations will be undertaken with all the stakeholders. The need for the setting up will be looked into during this process.
Thank you. Yes? Yes? No? All right. Honourable Second Member for Flac and Bon Accueil, Mr. Bichuk.
Madame la Présidente, 1B6.
Madam Speaker, I thank the Honourable Member for the question. I will certainly table a copy of the report of the state of the economy after my statement in this House this very afternoon.
Yes. The Honourable Third Member for Grand B and Poudre d'Or, Mr. Etoiria. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The coastal areas in the north comprise 17 regions, which start from Le Goulet and end at Rochenoir. These regions are highly popular among tourists and local residents. I am informed by the Commissioner of Police that during the past 3 years, 1,120 cases of larcenies have been reported to the police in the northern coastal areas. That is from 2012 to 2024. For the last 3 years, 2024, 23, and 22. I'm also informed that the police has put in place several measures to closely monitor the situation, and they are as follows. Bike and mobile patrols are carried out daily by the regular police, divisional CID, emergency response services, divisional support unit, police de l'environnement, police du tourisme, and the National Coast Guard in the residential and commercial areas, as well as the coastal regions for the safety of visitors and business operators. Secondly, the Special Supporting Unit and the Special Mobile Force are deployed at night to carry out mobile patrols and roadblocks in strategic locations throughout the island, including, therefore, the Northern Division. Thirdly, the Crime Prevention Unit regularly conducts sensitization campaigns in residential and commercial areas, as well as hotels, in order to raise public awareness on crime prevention measures. Additionally, neighborhood watch schemes have also been set up in those regions in order to enlist the support of the whole community in the fight against crimes, including larcenies. And fourthly, safe city cameras are used to monitor the movements of suspicious persons and vehicles for prompt and coordinated response to attend to public requests for police assistance. Madam Speaker, following the appointment of the new Commissioner of Police, the existing measures are being reinforced to revitalize the various units of the police force island-wise for a more effective response to crime. The police force is reorganizing its workforce and will adopt a zero-tolerance policy approach against all offenders as a deterrent to reoffending. We place, Madam Speaker, a high premium on the safety and security of visitors and local residents. We must ensure that our country remains a safe destination, not only for tourists, but also for local residents.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. We will now be moving to questions. So I have to inform you that PQ 1B22 will be replied by the Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs, Regional Integration and International Trade. I now call on the Honourable Second Member for Maïbourg and Plaine-Magnan, Mr. Apollon.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. B8.
Madam Speaker, I seek your indulgence. I gave the salient features in my reply, and the comprehensive one will be circulated.
I'm so sorry. You were replying to the question 1B22?
Yes, I'm replying to the question, but what I say, I seek your indulgence. I will give the salient features in my reply, and the comprehensive one will be circulated.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Following the grounding of the 𝐸𝐵 on the 25th July 2020, a solidarity grant was put in place to provide financial assistance to all victims. Registered fishers, applicant fishers, fishmongers, holders of commercial pleasure craft license, skippers, beach hawkers were thus each paid only 10,200 rupees per month from August 2020 to March 2021. That is an average of 80,000 rupees only during the full period of 8 months. The sum disbursed was unfortunately grossly inadequate. Following public outcry and protest march, the Japan V&I Club, the sole organization in Japan underwriting protection and indemnity insurance for both ocean-going vessels and Japanese coastal vessels, and the insurer of the Cape-sized vessel agreed, unfortunately, to pay only $2,650,48 as full and final compensation to the 999 registered fishermen, applicant fishers, and fishmongers. Though the fishers, the applicant fishers, and fishmongers were entitled to more, they were each only paid 113,000 rupees in December 2021 as additional compensation for loss of earnings. Madam Speaker, I'm informed that as at date, government has disbursed approximately 838 million rupees of taxpayers' money for various expenses in connection with the shipwreck. It is unacceptable that as of now, only 60 million rupees, that is 7.4% of expenses claimed, has been reimbursed so far by the insurers. Madam Speaker, I personally raised the matter with the Japanese ambassador during a meeting I had with him on the 5th of December 2024, and to register my official complaint on the loss of income suffered by the victims. I impress upon the ambassador to ask the Japan International Cooperation Agency to expedite in relation of projects identified to empower the fishers. It is unfortunate the ship owner, Tokyo Maritime Corporation, has entered a case before the Supreme Court to set a limitation fund under the International Convention on Civil Liability for Bunker Oil Pollution, that is the Bunker Convention, to the sum of approximately 720 million instead of the 2.3 billion claim. I hope the Supreme Court will not take long to give its ruling. It is unfortunate, Madam Speaker, that none of the former government ministers, nor the Prime Minister, deem it fit to depose before the Court of Investigation on the 𝐸𝐵 to look into the grounding, which was a major ecological disaster. It is only now that this particular case is being given the great seriousness of purpose. The Attorney General and his office are exploring all possible avenues in relation to legal matters. The state of Mauritius as plaintiff will fight for its legitimate right, and the victims should be entitled to all benefits. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you. The Honourable Second Member for Maïbourg Plaine-Magnan, Mr. Apollon.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. B9.
Madam Speaker, I am informed that there are 32 LPG fire human incinerators across Mauritius, out of which 16 are not operational. These 16 incinerators were procured by the Ministry of Local Government in 2018, and the project was funded under an Indian line of credit. The contract was awarded on 26 July 2019 for an amount of $2,256,000 USD, inclusive of contingencies. Madam Speaker, here I have the duty to inform the House that the outgoing government failed to ensure that the provision for maintenance in the bidding document, and this situation led to the 16 incinerators not functioning and hence causing undue inconvenience to our citizens around the country. In order to remedy this situation, bids were invited for the repairs, periodic servicing, and maintenance of all these 16 LPG fire human incinerators. Eventually, Steam House Limited, which met all requirements, was awarded the contract for the repairs, periodic servicing, and maintenance of these 16 LPG fire human incinerators for a contract price of 20,504,000 rupees, excluding VAT, on 14 October 2024, for a period of 2 years, renewable each year for an additional period of 3 years upon satisfactory service. Madam Speaker, as at date, the contractor has already surveyed 3 incinerators, namely at 𝐸𝐚𝐺𝐢𝐬, Richelieu, and Tombeau, Maïbo. In order to prevent any malfunctioning of incinerators, Steam House Limited intends to set up the incinerator with both automatic and manual options so that the incinerators could be switched to manual mode of operation whenever needed. In the meantime, all requests for incinerations received at the level of different councils, which being redirected to the nearest cremation incinerators, which are in operation under the respective council jurisdiction. In case incinerators are not available, the traditional cremation ground are being used. Madam Speaker, as per the contract, the contractor is expected to complete the repairs of all these 16 incinerators within a period of 12 months. However, my ministry is requesting the contractor to proceed faster with the repairs. In fact, I am personally following up on this matter with officers of my ministry. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Can I also, Honourable Minister, to inform the House which companies supplied the 16 incinerator which was funded under the Indian line of credit as stated by yourself?
These 16 incinerators was procured by, from Kanta Electrical India Limited.
Your next question then, Mr. Honourable Second Member for Maïbo and Plaine Magnon, your third question.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. B10.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Madam Speaker, since 2019 to date, my ministry has received 2,257 applications for fishermen cards, of which 1,134 fishermen cards have been issued. The list is being tabled. Moreover, from 2019 to date, a total of 186 applications for fishermen cards were rejected for the following reasons. 48 applicants were aged above 50 years, 93 applicants were holder of business registration, a number were in gainful employment, and 45 were involved in drug dealing.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. L'honorable ministre peut nous dire que si le ministère peut revoir les critères à la distribution des cartes des pêcheurs, comme on sait, les 10 dernières années, ça a été utilisé à des fins politiques. Est-ce qu'on peut revoir les paramètres et assurer que les vrais pêcheurs obtiennent leur carte?
Certainly, Madam Speaker. And I invite the distinguished honourable member from Maybird to dispense sound advice to us. We are here to pay heed to what he has to say.
Yes.
you, Madam Speaker. May I ask the Honourable Minister whether he is aware that 100 fishermen carts allocated to road rigs in the present financial year by his ministry have not been delivered to the Rodigan fishermen? Will he inquire as to the reasons thereof?
I'm glad the distinguished honourable member from Rodi has made me aware. Now that I'm having made aware, corrective measures will be taken to redress the situation.
Thank you, Minister. Yes, Mr. Apollon, your fourth question.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. B11.
Madam Speaker, in fact, the answer is in the positive. I'm aware that there is a project for the construction of a ground plus 3 building comprising inter alia, an accident and emergency department, non-communicable diseases services, a pharmacy department, laboratory services, and a psychotherapy unit. The project is still at design stage, and I will see to it that the process is activated. In the meantime, the services being provided at the existing hospital will be upgraded to provide, in the first instance, a 24/7 hours service for general medicine, cardiac services, pediatric, and antenatal care.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Can I ask for an humble request to the Minister whether the Ministry can, on a short-term solution, to see for a better operation and functioning of the Maibo Hospital, as there is more than 100,000 of inhabitants that use the service of these hospitals?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I can give assurance to the honourable member that in the days to come, I'll myself conduct a personal visit to the hospital and try to make efforts to improve all the services that are there.
Thank you, Minister. I don't like to be called sir. I'm sorry. Just Madam Speaker will be okay. Yes, next question, Honourable Fourth Member of Portruis North and Mont Island, Mr. Duval.
B12.
Madam Speaker, the last municipal city council and municipal town councils elections were held in June 2015. Accordingly, as per the Local Government Act, the life of all councils should have ended in June 2021. The previous government repeatedly postponed the municipal elections on 3 occasions since June 2021. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, the municipal elections were postponed on 2 occasions for a period of 1 year each, as from 15 June 2021, and a further period of 1 year as from 14 June 2022. However, the previous government again postponed municipal elections for a 3rd time to June 2025. This was very irresponsible and against the democratic rights of the inhabitants governed by the municipal council concerned. Madam Speaker, it is an undeniable fact that the previous government was aware that if ever the municipal council elections were to be held, they would have lost all the 120 seats in the municipal councils. Hence, they came up with an amendment to the Local Government Act to extend the life of the municipal council by a further period of 2 years on grounds that the reform had to be brought to the local government system in Mauritius. The municipal council elections are now due by mid-June 2025. Madam Speaker, unfortunately, 1.5 years has elapsed, but no official report on such reform has been laid on the table of the National Assembly, nor has the public been made aware of these reports. Our government has got commitment to uphold the democracy and to ensure that the municipal council election be held as soon as possible. Madam Speaker, we do not believe in piecemeal solutions. Our firm commitment is to redress all the wrongdoings of the previous government, uphold democracy, and ensure that the local authorities are governed under a proper, modern, and effective legal framework. Accordingly, only a few days after joining the ministry, we have already started to review, update the Local Government Act, and all the regulations that flow from same. Our government and my ministry gives a firm undertaking that we are going to hold the municipal elections as soon as possible when all the necessary amendments are made to the Local Government Act to reflect the vision of this government.
Thank you, Minister. Yes. Be careful. I can hear. The Honourable First Member for Portruis North and Montagnard, Mrs. Sababel.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question B13.
Madam Speaker, I am informed that on 25th November 2024, at 15:45 hours, one Mrs. R.R. reported to police that at around 10 hours on the same day, after having fed her late baby, 𝐸𝐸J, of 18 months old, she found that the latter was not reacting. She conveyed the baby to Dr. 𝐥'𝐀𝐥'𝐢𝐚 Hospital, Port Louis, where Dr. V certified her death, and the case was referred to the police medical officer for autopsy. The autopsy was conducted by the principal police medical officer, where the cause of death of late baby 𝐸𝐸J was attributed to a subarachnoid hemorrhage. Mrs. R.R. confessed to the police that on 25th November 2024, she dealt the baby girl a fisticuff blow violently at her head of baby 𝐸𝐸J early in the morning. On 26th November 2024, a provisional charge of murder was lodged against the accused before the District Court of Port Louis. Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the House that prior to the events that lead to the tragic death of the baby, on 17th October 2024, she was admitted to Queen Elizabeth Hospital, Rodrigues, for treatment. On 18th October, the social worker of Queen Elizabeth Hospital, Rodrigues, referred the case to CDU Rodrigues. On 21st October, Mrs. R.R. attended the first session with a psychologist of CDU Rodrigues. I am informed that a second appointment was scheduled for 11th November 2024, but she didn't attend as she was in Mauritius since 6th November 2024. Madam Speaker, when the case of the demise of the 18-month-old baby became known to the officers of my ministry, psychological assistance was proposed to Mr. P, the maternal uncle, the only relative living in Mauritius, on 27th November 2024, but he declined. Sorry. I am also informed that no assistance was provided to the mother as she was arrested by the police and was and still is in police custody. Given that the family of the late baby expressed their wish to conduct the funeral in Rodrigues, I made necessary arrangements with the relevant authorities for the repatriation of the body on 27th November 2024. With regard to the father and other relatives residing in Rodrigues, I am further informed that the psychologist posted to CDU Rodrigues contacted them on 27th November 2024 and 6th December 2024 for psychological assistance, but they declined same. I wish to reassure the House that close follow-up is being maintained in this case for further assistance. Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the House that since I took office, I already met the Commissioner of Police on 5th December 2024, along with different units of my ministry. it was an occasion to review the existing protocol to reinforce the collaboration between the police and the ministry with a view to enhancing the protection of children and women victims of violence. I thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Yes, Mrs. Sabagati.
Madame la Présidente, en parlant des cas d'enfants morts dans des circonstances tragiques, je me réfère certainement au cas de la mère qui a avoué avoir battu son bébé de 18 mois à mort le 25 novembre dernier. Son ex-compagnon a déclaré dans la presse que leur fille, âgée de 3 ans, serait décédée à la suite d'une chute en septembre dernier à Rodrigue, mais qu'aucune autopsie n'avait été réalisée. Aujourd'hui, il souhaite que la justice soit faite. Est-ce que le ministère accompagne ce monsieur dans ses démarches? Merci.
Thank you for the question, Madam. Madam Speaker, I wish to inform you that we were informed that there was a previous child who died in similar circumstances, but the cause of death was, an autopsy was carried out on the dead child on 24th September by Dr. Monvoisin, PMO, at Queen Elizabeth Hospital, and it was found out that the cause of death was natural because the late girl child was an epileptic patient.
Yes.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Puis-je demander au ministre, concernant le rapport d'autopsie qui a déclaré la mort aux causes naturelles, êtes-vous satisfait ou avez-vous revu le rapport? Merci.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Frankly speaking, I wish to inform the House that I have not taken cognizance of the report personally. If need be, I shall look into that. Thank you.
Yes, Mrs. Sabagati. Next question, please.
B14.
Madam Speaker, I'm informed that the Central Water Authority currently has a total of 310 subscribers in the region of Rivalan-Rhôde, 𝐥'𝐀, who are connected to the Central Water Authority existing pipe network. This region forms part of the CWA water supply zone, that is the north. The region of Rivalan-Rhôde in 𝐥'𝐀 receives potable water from 𝐥'𝐀 service reservoir, which sources its water from Malinga Reservoir, Bassin Loulou, and Labourdonnais River. The daily hours of supply are between 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. and then 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Madam Speaker, I'm further informed that following complaints from some residents of Rivalan-Rhôde on the social media regarding water supply, the Central Water Authority had effected a site visit thereat on 6 November 2024. It was found that 22 households along Rivalan-Rhôde in 𝐥'𝐀 was not registered subscribers of the Central Water Authority, and there was no Central Water Authority serviceman in that particular area. They are situated at the far end of the road and on a higher elevation. The Central Water Authority thus conducted a public relation exercise with the inhabitants concerned, who were advised to make an official application for new water supply at the Central Water Authority sub-office in Pamplemousse in order to be connected to the CWA pipe network. I am also informed that the Central Water Authority had that no application has been received from the inhabitant concerned up to date. Thank you.
Yes.
L'eau est une matière première précieuse et importante. Sans elle, l'être humain ne pourrait pas survivre, mais toutes les eaux ne se valent pas. Monsieur le ministre, il faudrait quand même dire, j'ai été dans la circonscription avec mes deux colistiers, honorables Achok Soubron et Ludovic Kazen. Malheureusement, vos réponses ne sont pas satisfaisantes. Plusieurs de ces habitants ne sont malheureusement pas raccordés au réseau de la CWA. C'est le cas de le dire pour les habitants de Rivalan, Crève-Cœur. Est-ce que, Monsieur le ministre, pourrait informer la Chambre sur les mesures qui seront prises rapidement pour que nos citoyens soient raccordés en eau et avoir une consommation d'eau potable? Vous avez parlé de 22 familles et nous parlons de 50 familles. Merci.
Madame la Présidente, je peux comprendre l'irritation de l'honorable membre et son impatience. Je peux comprendre. Je ne vais pas me bagarrer avec les chiffres entre 22 et 50. Ce que je voudrais ajouter, Madame la Présidente, c'est que pour être connecté au réseau de la CWA, il faudra qu'on a une application de ces gens-là. Donc, connecting this household would require significant infrastructural work, including l'installation de 500 mètres de new pipelines et du upgrading of the existing pump system to ensure adequate water supply. Comme je l'ai dit dans ma réponse initiale, Madame la Présidente, il faudra que les 22 ou 50, comme précisé par l'honorable membre, fassent une demande auprès de la CWA et je l'espère, je promets à l'honorable membre que ces 22 familles seront raccordées très rapidement.
Your next question, because that's been quite... And don't shout, please. Le micro est très sensible. Le micro est très sensible.
I'm sorry. B15.
Parlez normalement. Parlez.
I'm not used to it. B15, sorry.
That's all right. That's better.
Madam Speaker, I'm informed by the Central Water Authority that the region of Paul and Virginie Street, also known as 𝐶𝐸 in Cité-la-Cure, falls within the CWA water supply zone of Port Louis. The region receives potable water from the Priest Peak Reservoir supplied by La Nicolière and Pai Water Treatment. I'm further informed that households located on the right-hand side of Paul and Virginie Street, leading to La Cure Reservoir, are connected to the water supply network and have individual water meters installed by the CWA. However, the Central Water Authority does not have any pipe network on the left-hand side of the road at 𝐶𝐸, as the area is currently occupied by unauthorized settlement or, un mot que j'aime pas, squatters. Madam Speaker, I am informed that an applicant for a new supply connection has to submit a title deed or authorization from the landowner to enable the Central Water Authority to fix a water meter. I understand that the Central Water Authority will have to undertake necessary infrastructure development and the laying of approximately 3 kilometers of pipeline to extend the network to the region concerned. Thank you.
Les conditions dans lesquelles les habitants de 𝐶𝐸 vivent en 2024 est imaginable. Nous sommes pour le changement, nous parlons du changement. Est-ce que nous pouvons changer le quotidien de ces habitants, leur situation et améliorer leur qualité de vie? Monsieur le ministre vient tout juste de parler d'un réservoir d'eau qui sera placé dans la région. Est-ce que cela peut se faire au plus vite pour le bien-être des habitants et aussi pour les enfants? Merci.
Madame la Présidente, je comprends encore une fois l'impatience de l'honorable membre, mais je dois préciser que a new application for water connectivity requires applicant to provide proof of land ownership, such as title deed or authorization from the landowner to install a water meter. Ceci étant dit, je dois préciser que the land, là où on parle ce matin, Madame la Présidente, the land occupied by the squatters are found on private land belonging to various owners. There are about 300 people, squatters, at La Cure, known as 𝐶𝐸, over an area of 35 acres. The squatted area, which is located at the foot of Long Mountain, is rather slopy and as such, there might exist several natural storm drains. Je voudrais aussi ajouter pour l'honorable membre que any future consideration for water connectivity on the left side of the road will depend on the resolution of the land occupation issues, which should be dealt by the Ministry of Housing and Land. Étant dit cela, Madame la Présidente, si les papiers voulus, les permissions voulues soient obtenus, nous, au sein de la Central Water Authority, au ministère, nous allons faire le nécessaire pour que ces personnes soient raccordées au réseau de la 𝐩𝐫𝐢𝐬. Le coût du projet est autour de 25 millions de roupies. Duration de works, 3-4 mois. Si les permis nécessaires sont faits, et la 𝐩𝐫𝐢𝐬 et le ministère, je vous assure, Madame la Présidente, le nécessaire sera fait.
Relevant only, please. Go ahead.
Last question, thank you. En attendant que ces habitants soient relogés par le ministère du Housing, Monsieur le ministre, est-ce possible que nous allions avec vos officiers sur les deux sites, que ce soit à Crèvecoeur ou à Tirrodrigue, pour faire un état des lieux, sachant que vous avez reçu des réponses des officiers de votre ministère entre être présent sur le site et voir la situation de visu et avoir des informations par téléphone? Est-ce possible que nous puissions aller sur place pour un site visit? Merci.
Certainement, Madame la Présidente.
Merci. Monsieur Edouard, Mr. Edouard, Honourable Fourth Member for Rodrigues, please. Your question?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. 1B16.
Okay.
Madam Speaker, I am informed that the supply, distribution and storage of petroleum products in Rodrigues is presently affected by AEL-DDS Limited. The aforementioned company procures its petroleum products directly from oil companies in Mauritius as per its requirements and is responsible for the importation of same into Rodrigues. With respect to part A of the question, regarding the shortage of petroleum products over the past year, I am informed that there have been occasional disruptions due to increased demand, logistical challenges, and limited storage capacity. Notably, shortages occurred on the following occasion. A. On 30th October 2024, supply was disrupted for a few hours before being restored the following day. B. On 9th November 2024, supply was interrupted until the arrival of a consignment on 10th November 2024. C. On 21st November 2024, sales were halted following half-day shortages until arrival of new consignment the next morning. D. On 1st December 2024, a shortage of gas oil disrupted public transport, which resumed normal operations on 2nd December 2024 with the arrival of new stock. And E. On 6th December 2024, supply was again disrupted. These challenges stem from various factors, including logistical constraints such as the limited number of isotainers available and the disruptions caused by increased bulk purchases. To address these issues, we have taken proactive steps, including increasing the isotainer filling capacity, improving stock management, and securing additional isotainers, which are expected to enhance supply reliability by January 2025. Additionally, priority measures such as dedicating specific filling stations for government, emergency services, and public buses have been implemented to mitigate the impact of shortages on essential services. Madam Speaker, with respect to Part B of the question, as I mentioned earlier, AEL-DDS Limited is presently responsible for the whole supply chain of petroleum products in Rodrigues, from the importation to the retailing of the products. The company faces challenges such as limited shipping capacity, restricted storage facilities, and rising demand from the public and the Central Electricity Board. Petroleum products are transported from Mauritius to Rodrigues in dedicated isotainers, with recent addition bringing the fleet to 16 units presently. I am informed that AELDDS Limited owns and operates 3 petrol service stations at Port-Maturin, Mont-Lubin, and Grand Lafourche-Corail. Additionally, AELDDS Limited also owns and operates a mobile truck at Baie-Lascar service station, which is used to replenish vehicles with gas oil only. Madam Speaker, with regard to Part C of the question, all possible avenues to enhance the present provision for the supply, distribution, and retail of petroleum products in Rodrigues to ensure reliable access to these essential resources are being explored. Madam Speaker, we remain committed to addressing these challenges and ensuring the residents of Rodrigues have stable and secure access to petroleum products.
Thank you, Minister.
Can the Honourable Minister inform the House as to whether he is considering in the near future measures such as the expansion of the port on the island to accommodate a higher fuel capacity, storage capacity, being given the increasing demand in Rodrigues due to increase in number of vehicles? Thank you.
Madam Speaker, we will definitely take it into consideration. Subject to availability of funds, we will have to go to Cabinet to take a decision.
Thank you, Minister. Yes, Mr. Edward.
There have been discussions with, between former Chief Commissioner for Rodrigues and the State Trading Corporation for a storage facility in Rodrigues. Will the Minister state if the procurement notice that has been launched in October last will continue for a Whitehall storage facility in Rodrigues?
Well, we will take it into consideration. We'll discuss it with the STC.
Yes. Your next question, please. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your eye.
No worries.
You didn't catch my eye.
Thank you. Will the Honourable Minister confirm whether in the past, during any shortage of petroleum products in Rodrigues, a small private tank-tainers, or whatever name we call it, vessel, were chartered to serve Rodrigues? And if the problem persists, will he contemplate the same modalities?
Well, according to the information that I have, we will need to have more trips to Rodrigues. Once we have more trips to Rodrigues, I believe that the problem will be resolved.
That's correct. And will the Minister, is the Minister aware that there is limited infrastructure in the port area? Despite we have additional trips, there are limited space in the port area, especially for container storage and others. Is he considering to look with MPR and other authorities to extend this storage area in the port area in Rodrigues?
Madam Speaker, we will definitely work on it.
Okay. Yes, your next question, please.
Madam Speaker, 1B17.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. With your permission, Madam Speaker, I will reply to both parliamentary questions, B/4 and B/17, as they relate to the same subject matter. Madam Speaker, I'm informed that as of now, the Mauritius Shipping Corporation Limited is operating with only one vessel, the Peros Banus, which takes around 260 containers to Rodrigue per trip. For the peak period between October and December for year 2023, the Mauritius Shipping Corporation Limited shipped a total of 2,013 containers. For the same period this year, the Mauritius Shipping Corporation Limited has already shipped 1,512 containers as at 30th November 2024, with 510 containers forecasted to be shipped on the remaining 2 voyages in December, which will make a total of 2,022 containers. Madam Speaker, notwithstanding what my colleague, the Minister of Commerce and Consumer Protection, has stated in relation to petroleum products, and of course we take on board valuable suggestions made by distinguished honourable members from Rodrigue, let me say that as regard shipment of petroleum products to Rodrigue, 14 containers were shipped to Rodrigue in the last voyage, and it is planned to ship 16 containers on each of the next 2 voyages to Rodrigue. With the above shipment of goods and petroleum products, it is expected that there will not be any shortage thereof in Rodrigue. However, of course, we have to err on the side of caution, and it is precisely why I'm going to inform the House that the MV Trocasia, which went for dry docking, will come back on the 16th December 2024, and additional trips can be arranged to Rodrigue if ever the need is felt.
Yes. Now I will call third member for Portway South and Portway Central, Dr. Amir.
B18, please.
Madam Speaker, with your kind permission, I shall reply to PQ 1B18 and PQ 1B24 together as they relate to the same subject. Madam Speaker, first and foremost, I wish to extend my deepest condolences to the families who lost their loved ones during this tragic period. The loss of these lives is a matter of profound regret, and we remain committed to addressing this issue with transparency, accountability, and a focus on systemic improvement. Madam Speaker, since the coming in office of this government, one of the priorities has been to look into the circumstances that led to the death of dialysis patients which occurred during the COVID-19 pandemic. The fact-finding committee set up by the previous government identified major shortcomings in the management of this crisis. However, despite public demand, the findings of this report were never released. This lack of transparency only compounded the sense of injustice experienced by the grieving families. Madam Speaker, the present government is committed to rectify these past failures and ensure the right balance is struck between accountability and respect for individuals involved. The report produced by the fact-finding committee contains sensitive, personal, and medical information, and we must uphold patients' confidentiality as a matter of principle. There is no objection to tabling of the report before the National Assembly, provided the consent of the families of the deceased is obtained. My ministry is arranging accordingly.
Thank you. Yes, Doctor.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Est-ce que le ministre peut assurer à la Chambre que diverses enquêtes ont découlé suite à la publication et suite à la soumission du rapport du Fact-Finding Committee à son ministère, tels que le Medical Negligence Standard Committee, le Medical Council, le Nursing Council? Est-ce que ces rapports, leurs conclusions, est-ce que le ministère peut assurer que ces conclusions soient aussi soumises à la Chambre, car ça fait déjà 3 ans depuis que le rapport a été soumis et les circonstances atténuantes des décès de ces 11 patientes, ses parents, ses proches attendent patiemment pour compléter leur deuil.
all these information will be made available once we get the clearance from the family concerned.
Of course. Yes, your next question, Dr. Umia.
B19.
Madam Speaker, I am informed by the Land Drainage Authority that the city centre of Port Louis has been declared as high-risk prone area in August 2019. The region of Port Louis, particularly the city centre, is highly exposed to the flood water emanating from the mountain range that is Le Pouce and Signal Mountains, and is bordered by the mountain range upstream and is in fact a trough, that is a cuvette between inverted commas, by nature of its topography, and downstream it is bordered by the sea. Accordingly, the discharge of surface runoff is highly dependent on the tidal levels at the discharge point, which is Bassin Coudan. In the event of a concurrent scenario of a torrential rain and storm surge, the evacuation of floodwaters is inhibited due to the effect of tidal locking. This causes a rapid rise in the water level in the low points, namely at Poudrier Street, Ruisseau du Pouce, Coudan, and La Chaussée Street, amongst others. Madam Speaker, the flood mitigating measures earmarked within the region of Port Louis include the following: drain along Lord Kitchener Street, drain along Dr. Raoul Rivet Street, drain along Popénessie Street, raising of walls along Ruisseau de Créole Stream, raising of banks along the Pouce Stream, reconstruction of bridges along the Pouce Stream, and upgrading of Boulevard Victoria Bridge, Vallée-Pitot. The following projects have been completed: drain works at Coudan along motorway M1 at Place d'Armes, drain works at Cité Rosemont, Vallée-Pitot, drain works at Boulevard Rivals, Tranquebar, drain works at Jules Malac, Tranquebar, upgrading of Canal Anglais, construction of baffle tank near STR Marketing, and removal of cover slabs in front of Winners. The raising of wall along Ruisseau du Pouce consists: first, raising of the existing bank walls varying from 0.5 meter to 3 meter at different locations, and reconstruction of several bridges across Ruisseau du Pouce, including Gayasing Bridge and 2 bridges in Coudan premises. The first phase of the project comprises the raising of the walls up to the deck of the existing bridges is currently ongoing. In view of the constraints within the region of Port Louis, the proposal of implementing a cut-off drain at the foot of Le Pouce and Monroe Hill is being looked into by the Drains Infrastructure Construction Limited. The geotechnical investigation is currently ongoing. Madam Speaker, I am further informed that the Municipal City Council of Port Louis carried out desilting and cleaning works along the stretch of Ruisseau du Pouce in the vicinity of Crownland Tory, Tranquebar in February and April 2024. In addition, all the concrete slabs over Ruisseau du Pouce have been removed from ex-Majestic Cinema to Brown-Sequoia Street, and from Brown-Sequoia Street to Chaussée Street. 90% of the works have been completed. As regards the demolition of the KFC outlet, as at date, 95% of the works have been completed, and for the demolition works at parking spaces of Medcor and Rogers Company Limited, bids are being evaluated. Madam Speaker, with regard to Rivelet-Paille, desilting works along River Saint-Louis were effected over a stretch of 4.670 km in May 2024. The Council has effected clearing of the water course from overgrown vegetation and removal of obstructive materials, especially in the region of Avenue Cardinal 5 in November and December 2024. Madam Speaker, as for measures to mitigate the risk of flooding in the vicinity of Crown Land Tory, I'm informed by the LDA that a drain project has been identified for implementation thereat. In this respect, the NDU carried out 2 bidding exercises for the appointment of a contractor for the construction of a flood wall at Nazareth-Trangbar. The scope of works comprises inter alia the following: construction of a flood wall of an approximate stretch of 400 meters on both sides of Le Pouce Stream, backfilling, compaction and reinstatement of roads, concrete lining of riverbed of an approximate stretch of 400 meters, and desilting works of an approximate stretch of 125 meters. However, as the bids received were unresponsive, both bidding exercises were cancelled. Madam Speaker, following the unsuccessful bidding exercises carried out by the NDU, the project was referred to the Drain Infrastructure Construction Limited for implementation. A first invitation for bids was launched, but no recommendation for award was made. Therefore, a second bidding exercise was carried out and financial clearance is awaited before an award can be made. Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Omi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. May I ask the Honourable Minister, as far as Rivulet Pie is concerned, whether his ministry will leave no stone unturned as to the illegal construction of a building or a poultry building that has been the cause of deviation of torrential rain over inhabitants living in Cardinal 5 and causing major chaos.
I will certainly look into it because I'm being informed by the member, so I'll look into it.
Yes.
I've heard a very exhaustive reply from the Honourable Minister, and I'm glad to say that a lot of works are being planned for the inhabitants of Cantory, Trangbar, particularly the Pouce Stream. May I ask the Honourable Minister whether until and so forth these works are to be completed, and in the advent of the summer rains coming up, particularly torrential rains, whether he will make it a priority that those houses that have been earmarked in Trangbar and along Mont-Saint-Helene, particularly 6 families, whether these people will be given priority of relocation or at least be evacuated promptly during torrential rains to avoid casualties. Thank you.
As far as the evacuation plan is concerned, there is an evacuation plan being prepared and has been circulated between different ministries. And among the evacuation plan, we have voluntary evacuation. We have also mandatory evacuation. So we'll act, obviously, when we come in front of the situation.
Yes, Mr. Next question. Honourable First Member for Montagne Blanche and Grand River South East, Mr. Babulal.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. B20.
Madam Speaker, I'm informed by the Central Water Authority that the regions of Pellegrin, Bramstan, Bel-Air, Beauchamp and Sebastopol form part of the Central Water Authority water supply zone, except for Beauchamp, where water is supplied on a 24-hour basis. I'm informed that the other regions have intermittent water supply. It is to be highlighted that there has been a general drop in production level in the boreholes and surface water due to the deficit of rainfall during the year and the prolonged dry season. However, the situation has improved following the recent heavy rains in the east region. As far as Pellegrin and Sebastopol, Madam Speaker, these regions are served by Melrose Reservoir, which sources water from Quartier Militaire Reservoir and Petit Paquet borehole. Melrose Reservoir also supplies Sans Souci, Montagne Blanche, and export water to Étoile Reservoir. Pellegrin and Sebastopol receive respectively 5 hours and 8 hours of water supply daily. I am informed that the dry spell that prevailed in 2024 has affected production from Petit Paquet borehole, which has declined by 17%. This deficit was mitigated by installing a containerized pressure filter at the Melrose Reservoir, supplying 1,000 𝐸³ per day. The recent rainfall has restored normal production to normal level. Madam Speaker, for Bramston, I'm informed by the Central Water Authority that it is serviced by Montagne Fayence Reservoir, Bonne Mer Reservoir, and a containerized pressure filter at Bramston River. Part of Bramston, including areas such as 𝐷𝐸𝐿 l'Albado Road, Kalipa, and Shivala Road, enjoys water supply of 18 hours daily. While part of Bramston, that is Chemin Dominique, Nunca Road, Mosellement, La Gaîté, Downfall Road, Shivala Road, BNR Road are supplied with 10 hours of water daily. The prolonged dry season has caused a reduction in production from Belrose Clément Borehole by 37.5% and from Bramston containerized pressure filter by nearly 50%. Valve operation had to be carried out to rationalize distribution of water tankers. Water tankers were deployed to service the most affected areas, namely Shivala Road, l'Albado Road, and Mosellement-Viorès. With the recent rainfall, production has improved and tankers' trips have also been reduced. For Bel-Air, Madam Speaker, concerning the region of Bel-Air, I'm informed that it is supplied by Belrose Clément Reservoir, which sources its water from Belrose Clément, Caroline Borehole. The normal hours of supply at Bel-Air is 12 hours daily. Production from these sources have dropped significantly during the dry season, leading to a revision in hours of supply to 8 hours daily. Water tankers were deployed to the affected areas. As far as Beauchamp region, it had started to be supplied with water on a 24-hour basis only in August 2024, following the installation of a containerized pressure filter at Beauchamp Deep River. However, technical issues encountered in October 2024 with the booster pump have led to interruption in parts of Mosellement-Beauchamp. The Central Water Authority is in process of procuring a new pump, expected to be operational by April next year, 2025. Meanwhile, valve operation and water tankers are being deployed as an interim solution. Je voudrais, Madame la Présidente, avant de terminer, ajouter que pour l'honorable membre et les autres membres de la Chambre, Madame la Présidente, la stratégie de mobilisation des ressources en eau, de traitement, de stockage et de distribution d'eau en vue d'améliorer l'approvisionnement en eau de la population est en cours de révision. Suite, malheureusement, il faudra le dire, suite à l'incapacité du gouvernement précédent à mettre en œuvre ses promesses de 2014 dès le 24/7. Les parties prenantes concernées seront consultées en temps et lieu. Merci, Madame la Présidente.
We have 3 minutes. You have no supplementary. We have 3 minutes left. Maybe I shall suspend the sitting for 1.5 hours at this stage.